meat, poultry, and fish, which are your big markets. Can you go through each of those and give us a breakdown of different issues with each of those?
Sure. I think a lot of these underlying issues are the same, that as we've become more and more globalized with our food supply, it becomes more and more a higher density of processed product, and just from the inherent nature of so much throughput in so much amount of time, you're introducing natural organisms that are found in our environment, but now they're in higher densities because of the processing environment. And so you're going to see the same kind of issues, the salmonella issues, the E. coli issues, campylobacter issues. Those are kind of across the board. You're going to see those a little more. For example, in poultry, you're going to see campylobacter and salmonella more than you're going to see E. coli issues. But it's the same kind of pathogens that we're seeing introduced that are natural from our environment, but because of the high intensity processing we do now, they're becoming more and more of a significant health issue. So really when we're looking at these, for example, in the beef industry, it's very common. They take the cattle, they do a carcass wash, and then they do the slaughtering process, a bleed out. They'll use different lactic acids as a treatment, and then they're chopping it down or grinding it, and the grinding is what we continue to hear about in the news. Just by inherent nature of grinding this through a grinder and putting more and more through it, you're mixing and mashing everything together, and cross-contamination issues. Poultry is much the same, that we're taking these chickens, and the throughputs of these lines are amazing. They're doing 90 chickens in a minute. It's just coming through. And so really what all they can do is a chlorine dip up to now is what they've been doing, and using chill baths. And there's other niche markets like the air chilled and things, and those all have their own.
A chlorine dip, that's just as simple as it sounds?
It's simple as it sounds.
You dip it in chlorine?
Chlorine, and the same chickens are going through. So take that number, 90 chickens a minute, let's use that, and there's plus or minus, bigger, smaller. But going through that same bath, 90 chickens a minute, 24 hours a day, or even 16 hours a day. How often is that water being changed? So, when you're looking at these baths,
how often is it being changed?
It's up to the facilities. Sometimes a good facility might be doing it every hour. A poor facility might be doing it every 8 hours. And so you're looking at these baths, and you can physically see a filth layer floating on this. And this is, they like to use the term fecal soup. It's an ugly term, but that's really what they're dipping it in to clean. Seafood, up till now, it's really been the same thing, a chlorine dip. So they're eviscerating the fish, prepping it in a fillet, real quick, rinse, bath, dip, nip, time for you to eat it. Well, we know it's not working. I mean, we all know it doesn't work. We've all probably been sick from eating a seafood item before. And it's because it's an archaic practice that they really haven't introduced new technologies into the sector. And so we've been able to capitalize on the loss of technology and try and upgrade the industry and bring it to the 21st century, I guess we're at now.
Information is definitely going your way because the public is so much aware of the cumulative effect of these pathogens and these adulterations in our food. And you have a higher percentage of the population that has had, food poisoning or has picked up a microbe. So it seems to me that this is, really an exciting, area because it's one of the few areas where we're actually doing something about the problem, and I have to commend you on that because, as a parent, I care about every morsel that goes in my children's mouth and my family's mouth, and I don't think anybody's any different. I think that's a pretty standard thing. So if I saw your label on products and they were 10% more or 15% more, I'm very much likely to go ahead and do it, which I think is why the whole green revolution is taking place in food, and that people are willing to pay the prices. By the way, the premiums for organic and green food, if you've paid attention to these premiums, they're enormous. Chicken that's $1.30 a pound, it's $2.60 a pound in a local supermarket because it has a little green label on it. I'm not sure that that's merited, though.
Well, people are looking for answers. Consumers don't feel protected for obvious reasons. The Center for Food Safety in Michigan State University did a study last year and found that 96% of consumers wanted more food safety information on the labels, and 84% were willing to pay a premium for additional food safety measures.
Now last year, obviously, what you're doing is you're taking chicken, beef, or fish and dipping it. There's a big problem last year with dog food as well. And that's obviously a processed food that then gets put into a can. Where do you guys stand with respect to that market? Is that a market you're going
versus fresh?
Yes.
Are you asking dog food or people food? Or people
I'm actually two questions. So, processed food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, our model right now is in the seafood industry. Okay. We take the product right before packaging. When they say this is good enough to put in the package and ship, well, it's really not. So that's where our on-site food safety team really takes over from the point of feed all the way through packaging.
Mm-hmm. You know, Rudyard Kipling ages ago wrote a book called The Jungle on the whole meatpacking industry.
Right.
And in your experience going overseas, how are those factories? Are they comparable to what he described? Where are we in terms of those factories?
No, this isn't 1906, but you will see a big discrepancy between the best of the best and those that are just getting by. We've seen some of just 2 weeks ago in Hainan Island, we've seen some of the biggest and the nicest facilities in the whole world. And Hainan Island, as you know, is China, and China has a black eye, but these really are probably some of the nicest facilities in the world. So you get a whole mix.
You know, once your seal is on the fish that's being transported, what type of risks does the food is the food subject to during transportation to the outlet? Is that a problematic?
You know, there's two different main product lines, I guess you can generalize seafood in, is the frozen sector and the fresh sector. So, you know, frozen sector, they're freezing down to minus 20 C, and that's maintained as it's shipped over. And so there's a lot less risk, obviously, in the frozen markets. With fresh, you know, temperature is very critical in transport, not only for the quality, but definitely for the safety. And that's where we implement some of the TTI technologies, which, is the time temperature indicators. And so those are used to indicate that during passage that it has been maintained at those refrigerated temperatures known as the safe zone, that you don't ever want that product above 38 degrees Fahrenheit, just to ensure that as it reaches, there hasn't been a microbial bloom during the packaging or in the packaging.
And we also individually wrap each fillet, each piece of product. So
and each one has the seal.
Yes.
Well, listen, I want to thank you both, Keith and Aaron. It's wonderful to do a show on Wealth and Wisdom where, you know, we actually meet people who are actually solving a problem.
Well,
you know, in the marketplace, and God, I wish you all the luck, because I think that I'm wishing myself and my family and my friends, you know, good luck. You know, getting food that's not adulterated and that's safe to eat.
Thank you.
Next week, we'll be talking with Congressman Ron Klein of the 22nd District here in Florida. He's a first-term congressman that's up for re-election. For more information on today's shows, in fact, all our shows, go to www.wxel.org with your questions and comments. I'm James DeGiorgia.
And I'm Jeff Garbaz for The Market Guys. Good night.
To receive a copy of your favorite Wealth and Wisdom episode, or if you have a question or comment about our program, please feel free to write us at Wealth and Wisdom, care of WXEL, P.O. Box 6607, West Palm Beach, Florida 33405. Or call us at 1-800-915-9935, extension 4477. We look forward to hearing from you soon.